everyone, and welcome to a palette bingo. Today, the palette bingo palette of choice is a throwback palette, the Anastasia Subculture palette. So originally I was going to use the Kaleidos Escape Pod palette, which is a palette that I used pretty recently for a palette bingo, but I wanted to use it again and just kind of show it off because I really like the color story. But I asked on Instagram and I was like, what do you guys think for a palette bingo? Something old, something new, colorful, neutral, what are you thinking? Well, it was fairly mixed in terms of colorful and neutral, which was kind of surprising, but a lot of people said something old. So I thought, well, why not this? I was also thinking about the Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette. That palette, it has to go. I'm only keeping it for like the next couple of days until I get around to my palette collection, because the collection will also include a handful of declutters. So I figured I'll save it for that massive video and talk about it there, but I thought I would swatch things just because if it's something I hadn't used in a while, I was like, I don't want to have this all started and then it's a train wreck. So I did swatch a couple of shadows from the Subculture just to make sure that we were all good. So we're good. I'm not sure how this is gonna go, but I thought this might give me some sort of autumnal, maybe even winter vibes, or like just late autumn vibes. That's kind of what I'm going for here. I thought this might work. I kind of wanted to see what I could do with the Escape Pod palette to make it a little bit more wintry, but here we are. So let me get my number generator out and get this started. So I already have it set with a minimum of 1 and a maximum of 14. Let's see if this works. So it says number 5, so that is the first shadow. Number 5 is the Shadow All-Star. So that is what we are looking at for shadow number 1. I always pick 4 shadows as well, just because I don't have a whole lot of lid space, so I like to maximize it. Said 5 again. Shake it. Number 3, I'm trying to hold it without it reflecting. Number 3 is the shade Destiny. So sorry for the glare there. It seems to be reflecting off some of the shadows that I hit pan on, which is funny. So this is Destiny right there. So interesting color combinations so far. Let's see, shadow number 3 is number 10. 10 is the shade Fudge. Well, this is definitely very autumnal. We'll see. I'm nervous about the last shadow for sure. Number 1. Oh, easy. Okay, we got lucky. Number 1 is the Cube shade. It doesn't really swatch very well. It's underneath the Fudge shade, but it didn't really swatch very well. But I got really lucky. I got really lucky on that last one. So if I choose to incorporate other shadows, I do allow myself to do that. I do stick within this palette. And my main rules for the way that I do palette bingo is that I have to make these shadows the majority focus. So I really like the way that the green and the red pair together. I'm not sure what I want to do though. These palette bingos always start off that way of like not quite sure what to do. But I really like this green. So I'm just putting a little bit of the green on my lower lash line. I'm not really inspired by anything right now. When I'm filming this is right before Taylor Swift's new album is coming out. When this goes up, I believe this will be going up on Sunday. So the album will have been out for a couple of days. But I'm very excited to listen to that and see if I can pull any inspiration. I honestly wasn't a big fan of Folklore. Sorry, I know that's like a blasphemous Taylor Swift opinion. I don't know what I'm feeling with this, and it's probably pretty evident that I just don't know. I don't know what I want. But yes, okay, so I don't get super distracted just by talking. I've listened to Folklore a couple times. I like a couple of the tracks. Like, I like Betty, and I can't even think of all the titles now. But I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling it. I feel like I connect more with Taylor on the things that she sings about that are more personal, as opposed to her like writing from a different perspective, which is what Folklore was, which is why I just didn't really respond to it like I thought I was going to. I just couldn't really relate or get into the music. This looks crazy. This looks absolutely crazy. I swear I'm trying to make it come together. So I have the All-Star shade on the inner portion with the green on the outer. So I wanted to do something a little bit different, but also kind of capture, like, these just make me think of sort of like the dying leaves and like the leaves on the ground, and maybe even a little bit of the cover art for the Evermore album. So this is kind of like a unique time to talk about that album because it hasn't come out yet. There's a lot of anticipation. It's interesting that she decided to once again surprise everybody with a new album, and also just how quickly it all came together. Like, it's usually years between albums, right? And so the fact that everything came together so quickly is kind of surprising, but I guess what else did she have to do in quarantine, I guess, in lockdown? She couldn't tour. So it kind of makes sense. Sorry, this is just like a Taylor Swift rant now. But I'm looking forward to listening to that album. I've been having a really good time with the XL mist, so I'm really happy about how all of that has gone. I have a pretty packed schedule for next week if I can keep up with it. Next week is supposed to be, it's like collection week. So next week would be makeup inventory, it'll be eyeshadow collection, it would be a full makeup collection. I thought that I would kind of make that the focus, so like that's what I'm thinking. It'll be like eyeshadow palette collection, a makeup inventory, so with just the numbers, the makeup collection showing this whole space, then probably like an indie wish list, so kind of say like, hey, you guys just saw all the stuff I have, here are the indie things that are on my wish list that I feel like fills a gap that I don't already have, and then probably then just end the week with like one of the historical things. I really want to talk about the Benefit versus Anastasia case from a couple of years ago, which I found very, very interesting when I found that. So I was working on translating a bunch of the jargon because I am not a law expert. So, and I'm definitely not an expert on the way things are in the US. So I kind of had to like read a whole bunch of stuff that didn't make a whole lot of sense to me at first. I was just trying to basically teach myself like Law 101 in a couple of hours when I was doing the research, because it wasn't something that I had planned to do. It was just something that ended up coming out of the other video I did, which I was really surprised that so many people watch it, because I was like, this is going to be so long. I was like, nobody's going to watch this video. I was like, it's full of like interesting tidbits and everything, but it's just, I just feel like it's too long. Like people's attention spans won't be there for it. And everybody surprised me, and so many people watched, and so many people commented and were really, really into it and learned, so like expressed that they learned things that they didn't know. So that's always really cool to me. Putting that brown there in the bottom. And it's funny, I am using an Anastasia palette. I hadn't actually thought about that, but I want to talk about that, like I said, that case, because I think it ties into a little bit of the Anastasia history. And I did find some stuff, like sometimes when I'm doing research, I find that I uncover things that maybe I shouldn't have. You know, some stuff's made public, but maybe it's like an unspoken thing where people just don't talk about it. And some of the things that I get carried away with when I uncover, and I'm just like, you know what, I don't have the kind of protection to like protect me if I said the wrong thing, so I better just kind of keep my mouth shut here. So I kind of like went off a little bit on Twitter because I was so excited about the stuff I found, but then I was like, also I need to be careful because These brands have a lot of connections and a lot of deep pockets, shall we say. And I cannot deal with any of that. Let's see what this cube shade looks like, kind of pressed more on top of that burgundy. I feel like my dying leaf aesthetic really worked here. Okay, so definitely need some black eyeliner. And some black mascara, of course. Hi, Kashi. Hi. Hi. Who is it? Who is it? I know. Hi, baby. She's like, please, I don't like these lights. Baby, look. Oh, hi, baby. Okay, I'll let you down. Okay, I don't feel like going and getting my other brushes, like my other face brushes. Like I had my contour and stuff already on, just not highlight. And I have my little highlight basket, which is actually, well, highlight and blush basket for my declutters. So this was in my maybe pile, the Too Faced one, this like prism thing. So let's give that a go. With all this big packaging and there's no mirror in that palette. I might do the nose blush thing here. This is kind of like, I'm not even using my regular highlight brush. Got that similar sort of vibe as that cube shade. Let's drag it in a little bit. Ooh. Putting this on a little bit on top of the shadows gives it kind of like that oil slick effect. It just instantly just like turned it into something else. Okay, so that is how we are doing it. I'm in. All right, next blush. And again, from that same, I mean, just for that alone, this might be worth keeping. I'm gonna use the Milani Baked Bellini blush. We'll see how that goes. Though I kind of want to use the Clinique Cola Pop blush to give me that outdoor, more, yeah, I don't like this. I don't like this. I knew I wasn't gonna like that blush. I just had that feeling because it was just too shiny. That I'll give it another shot, like with like everyday makeup and not in this kind of a situation. But I'm gonna use the Clinique Cheek Pop in Cola Pop, as I had already said. Okay, when this looks ridiculous on me, remember you guys told me I could do it. The internet told me. Okay, so I definitely brushed it like way down. I have this concealer brush. Normally I'd use like my beauty blender or sponge to kind of like blend the foundation out. All I have is this concealer brush in front of me and I just don't feel like breaking the vibe. I don't know if that happens to anybody else, but I find like when I'm really in the zone and things are coming together, just like a simple act of leaving the room will just ruin the flow, and I'll come back and be like, I don't remember what I was doing. No, don't use that. So out of it, okay. So I caved and I went and got my beauty blender and I blended things and I feel so much better about that. And I also had to grab this anyway, still staying in it. I wanted a little bit of glitter. I just was feeling it. So I have this Silver Holographic glitter from MAC. I have no idea what I really want to do with it yet. I just want to do something. I wanted like a little like splattering, so it's almost kind of like snow. Does So like that kind of like first or second snowfall when there's still a lot of like dead leaves on the ground, but there's just that little bit of glittery snow. I just love that this not like perfect, just getting it like a little splattering. And there we have it, just like a slight little bit of glitter in the outer corner. The blush is on. I'm not sure what to do for lips, so probably not a whole lot of anything. I like the idea of just keeping it very bare. So I have this Pixi gloss. And then I'm gonna just take my finger and that cube shade. No, I'm gonna use a brush. So I just put a little bit of that cube shade from the Subculture palette over the gloss to really kind of tie it all together. So I just need to complete and I'll be right back. All right, so here is the completed look. I really like how this turned out. It takes a little while to get sort of the creativity ball rolling, but once it starts and once I can start putting pieces together, I usually end up liking what I come up with at least a little bit. And I do really like this. It's different than what I've done with this palette before. And I did just also recently do 4 looks 1 palette with Subculture as well, pushing myself to find different ways to use it. So I like this. I feel like it's very wintry. I feel like it really kind of suits the season a little bit. And I also just got to be like a little bit more creative than I have been recently, which I very much enjoy. So thank you so much for watching and for hanging out with me today while I put some random makeup on my face. Let me know if you would like to see other palette bingos, what kind of palette bingos you would like to see, or if you just have other video suggestions or recommendations, please leave them for me as well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I hope we get a chance to chat soon. Bye for now.